Hey guys, and welcome to my pedalboard playthrough part 1. In this one we're looking at the green pedals. What I mean by that is it's the pedals hitting the Fender amp. For variation, I'm playing 39, which is my 2016 American Special Telecaster. Clean sound. That's both pickups. Neck, bridge is so it's pretty clear, pretty clean. There's just a hint of reverb from the big sky, but everything else is just it is off at the moment. So the signal from this is pretty straightforward. It's this first tuba drive first, which is set for a kind of medium gain crunch. And on the neck pickup, it's great for kind of so it's a little bit dark as far as overdrives go, which complements and contrasts the bright amp nicely, but it's got plenty of kick, great kind of that crunchy rhythm kind of tone. The second tuba drive then is set slightly milder. Milder but slightly louder, slightly brighter, so just a different kind of tone. Both on together, obviously it's kind of a bit of both. Next up is the Sir Jackrabbit Tremolo, which I have set at the moment fairly slow and mild. Let's see if I can turn up the rate. And it's set on triangle wave, which I really like. I find the square wave can be a bit uncomfortable sounding, but the sine wave is a bit too mellow. Now, I've talked before about why I run my this tremolo before the compressor, which is basically that when I'm playing hard, the the tremolo has less effect once it's going into the compressor, and then the more gently I play, the more you hear the tremolo effect. So speaking of compressor, next is the comp, Koji comp, which just helps even everything out. Great for kind of right on the bridge. And then if I run the Shiba Road before it, then I can roll the guitar volume right down. Get still. And even with both on. And if I throw the Jackrabbit on, as if I play gently, then you can really hear the tremolo. But as I play harder, it will become less apparent. Finally, the ISO boost is literally a make it louder button. So whatever else I'm doing, if I need just a bit more kick, the amp has got plenty of headroom, so it's not compressing at all. So if I want just louder clean, louder overdrive, just works really well. Very simple, very clean. It's only set on 2 because it's a massive amount of level boost that you can get out of this thing, but I tend to like it reasonably subtle. Also on this board, and I'll talk about, is the Strymon Mobius, which my default sound, so let's give it a bit of compression just so you can get a bit more level out of it. My default sound is called Nothing. It's actually a vintage trem setting, but with the depth on nothing. That's not actually doing anything at all. Basically because the Mobius always comes up on when you power it up, I wanted it to be something that wouldn't, if I forgot to turn it off, wouldn't be an issue. In this first bank as well, I have my Leslie. So that's my most used sound on the Mobius. But then if I go to the next bank, I have a chorus. At the moment it's pretty fast, let's slow that down. Vibe. I think the next bank is probably either a phaser or a flanger and a pattern trem. Let's find out. No, so that's a phaser. Don't use it very often because, like a lot of people, I much prefer a phaser or a vibe in front, which is on the other board, the vibe. So, but it's kind of cool. And then I have a filter. This is useful because I don't have any envelope filters on this board. I actually quite enjoy playing with an envelope filter. I have 4, but let's say the Mobius does it well enough for most purposes. And if I need to, I can always plug something into the underneath the loop switcher. There is an Audrey, which is an audition box by Goodwood Audio. It's the same as the one at the back. And from there I can just patch in an extra pedal if I ever need to. Other sounds that I occasionally use are, there's a vintage trem. Obviously I have the Jackrabbit. The advantage of this one is that it affects both amps, depending on which preamp I'm using, and it's in the loop, so it doesn't matter what else is going on. And then they're both set the same. Interesting. Pattern trem. Which I never use, but I will probably find a use for at some point. There's an auto swell. Which I guess is supposed to sound like a Boss slow gear. Bank 5, this warble sound I used on a track on the Thinking Tree EP to give it a kind of vintage sound. Again, not something I use very often, but it's cool every now and then. Plus it makes weird noises. And then talking of weird noises, finally, there is the ring modulator. Now if I turn that off, I'll play the same thing. So it's weird, again, very, very rarely used, but every now and then you just want a little bit of crazy in your life. Let's go back to something a bit more normal. That's better, back to nothing. And then my timeline has various delays in. Most commonly I have what I call lead. Which is basic panning delay. And I have the same sound, just boosted. Also, a sound I use is a more specific panned. And a reverse delay. Which I really like with overdrive for playing lead parts. Yeah, it just gives thickens up, but without sort of getting in the way. And really, they're the only delay sounds that I use on 99% of the stuff. I do have, I think, in the next bank, that's another panned, just a shorter one. My big delay, which is just a longer version of the same thing. Next bank is a bit clock, which is really just a lo-fi delay. It's set pretty subtle, as most of my delays are, but you can hear it does deteriorate. And again, it's just a way of sort of thinning things out while still maintaining a bit of depth. Another reverse delay, I think it's the same one. Just with a few more repeats, and possibly the repeat level is a little bit higher. My dot rhythm. Basically for playing that when I want to jam that song. And another dot rhythm. I thought I had something else in there. So that means these are very subtle. Blues rhythm. Almost like a slapback, and then the blues lead is just the same at half time. So there's almost no delay on at all on those. And I thought I had, there's Physics, my kind of weird icy thing. Which is kind of cool, and then with the warble on and the shimmer on the reverb, we can get some really interesting sounds, but I'll talk about that in another video. And then, as I say, they're pretty much the only delays I use, and pretty much most of the time I'm just using my basic lead kind of sound, in bank 0, so, and then the reverse delay, and that's pretty much what I use. So there we go, other stuff on the board. On this board, this switches between the 2 amps and sets of pedals. The other one turns the whole preamp thing off, so I don't do that unless I'm fault finding. Smart gate is always on, and the thing at the back is the Gig Rig 321. Basically, I'm not using any of the preamps on it. It's just an input selector between 3. You can choose between 3 different inputs. I'm using input 2 at the moment because that's where I've got my cable with a straight plug on the end, because my Telecaster doesn't accept a right angled jack. So yeah, number 2 is that. Number 1 is my standard cable that I use for recording with my guitars that do accept right angle jacks. Nothing plugged into number 3 at the moment, and the other option is mute. So with nothing plugged into number 3, it goes straight from 1 to 2 unless you turn on the mute function, and with the mute function on, if I press it, all the lights go off, which means that there are no inputs turned on. Press it again, input 1, which doesn't have a guitar plugged into at the moment, and then we're back to input 2, and there we go. So I hope that's been useful. Part 2 coming up, where I look at the other board and the stuff I've got on there very soon. Till next time, take care. I'll speak to you soon.